also about savory things. And we're going to start out with little mini quiches. They're going to be vegetarian quiches. The important thing to remember about dealing with pastry is that everything needs to be cold. So, for example, I've been soaking my stainless steel bowl in ice so that I start out with a very cold medium, and I don't want to handle the pastry too much either. I've got here about 1/3 cup of shortening, which has come out of the fridge. 1½ cups of sifted flour, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and a few tablespoons of cold water. Remember that you want to keep everything moving quickly, and you don't want to let the heat from your body affect the pastry too much. So what we're doing is what my old home ec teacher would call the rubbing in method. And basically you're picking the flour up and the shortening and rubbing with your fingers together. I actually think I'm going to need to add a little bit more water because we're ultimately trying to form a dough here. Okay, and you'll find that it starts to sort of come together. Right. I'm basically just going to turn my mixture out onto a floured surface. Get a bit of, and knead it ever so gently, just to make sure it all holds together. And then I'm going to quickly roll it out. I want it to be quite thin. And this pastry will shrink quite a lot, so we have to actually use some weighting methods when we put it in our baking tray. So I have got quite a big scrunkly edged thingy bob jiggy here. I'm basically going to cut out, this is a pastry cutter, 6 rounds with this cutter. Right, and then very carefully pull the excess away from your rounds. Sometimes I go through phases of food, and when I first learned how to make quiche, oh God, it was quiche every day, quiche for every dinner, quiche for all breakfast pie, all kind of thing. Quiche, quiche, quiche. Anyway, so I've got me beautiful rounds, and I've got here a greased baking tin with like cupcakey areas. I'm just going to drop the round in there. Oh, I've done 7 rounds. Clearly I can't count. So I've got my rounds there. I'm going to get a fork and poke some holes in the bottom of each one, just because if I don't, once I put it in the oven, it's going to go like this, and we'll have convex quiches rather than concave. And then I'm going to get some uncooked rice, or you could use beans. I'm just going to fill each round. It helps to weight it down when you're cooking. And in the oven, I'm just going to cook these for about 10 minutes at 450 degrees. Inside the quiches, as I said, I thought we'd do them as a vegetarian thing. I'm going to put kind of Mediterranean-y kind of flavors together. So the first thing I've got is some very thinly sliced red onion that I'm going to caramelize on the stove. So I've got my favorite banged up old frying pan. I'm using red onion because I think it's a sweeter onion, and I want the quiche to be flavorful, full of nice different flavors. I'm going to just prepare the eggs. I've got here 3 whole eggs, and I'm going to use cream. You can use milk, you can use evaporated milk, but I want these to be really kind of luscious, yummy, rich quiches. Let's say I've got about a half a cup of cream to 3 eggs. It's going to be nice and rich. Beat everything up nicely. To that I'm going to add some salt and some freshly milled pepper. If you can, get a pepper mill. The difference in the taste of freshly milled pepper is enormous. Another stew. And I'm going to add some Parmesan, about a good little handful. I've got some chopped capers, about 1/4 cup. I've got some very finely chopped tomatoes. And to that, I'm going to add my onions. I'm actually going to wait for my onions to cool a little bit before I add them to the eggs, otherwise the egg will start cooking before I actually put it in the oven, and I don't want that to happen. So let's have a look. Once you've taken the rice out of the pastry, we're literally just going to spoon our mixture in. I'm going to add the onions last so they go on the top. So make sure you get a good spoonful that has a bit of everything in it. Right. And then on top of all of these, I'm going to put my cooled onions. A little bit of onion on each one. On top of that, I'm going to sprinkle some Parmesan cheese. And then these guys are going to go back in the oven at 350 degrees for a good 20-25 minutes until the egg mixture is cooked right through. They look fantastic. Got another really pretty plate.